Okay, for this episode of Art Today, I am going to focus on a still life rendering using watercolor pencils. It's titled Tomatoes and Complementary Colors. And I will be both blending the watercolor pencils with water, but I'll also be blending with a prismacolor blending stick to do the final details. You may not see that in this episode, but you will see the final drawing. And I will do another episode on how to blend with the prismacolor watercolor, the prismacolor blending stick. When you talk about complementary colors, when you take a secondary color wheel, and it's those colors that are opposite one another that gives you the complementary colors. And so for this particular piece, I'm working with orange and blue as my more dominant colors. Okay, so again, I'm going to just block in color for now. And when I'm blocking in color, I'm just sort of using the pencil sort of like a crayon, just loosely adding color, blocking it in. And hopefully, it all kind of gives me a general idea of what the overall composition is going to look like. I am going to keep working with this a little bit, and I'm working with again, complementary colors, but they're also earth tones, orange, blue, some yellow I'll be working with, and some green, a little bit of green that I'll also be working with. I had a wonderful harvest this growing season in 2023. I grew lots in my container garden, and I grew lots of tomatoes, so many that I gave quite a few away. But I also was able to take some really nice photographs of the harvest, and I found that a lot of the photographs are really great for rendering some nice paintings or watercolor paintings, or even just some graphite pencil drawings and things like that. But I like to work with this watercolor pencil because, again, it's extremely versatile. And it's a fun medium to work with, real clean. You don't have to worry about a lot of cleanup when working with them. They're great for working with students and working with your children at home. I'll highly encourage individuals to pick up a pack and just, try it out. Again, a great medium to work with. I love working from photographs that I take, and this was one of them. And you'll see a lot of my, most of the drawings that you may see in my Art in the Garden series are in my Art Today demonstrations. They are from actual photographs that I take. And so makes the subject matter pretty easy and fun to work with. So I'm going to keep on working with this, blending in some color. What I'm really trying to do, again, is get the overall composition of the piece down, get the colors in place and things like that. And I am just kind of working it. And I'm going to work it a little bit, and you can kind of check it out as I go along, okay? Another thing that I love about working with watercolor pencils is the ability to work pretty quickly and still manage to get some really fine details in the work. I love when you're able to blend with watercolor pencils, and there are several ways that you can blend with watercolor pencils, and there are several applications that you can use the watercolor pencils for. You can actually just use them as a colored pencil, but then you can also, like here, begin to apply water to the watercolor pencils, and they will begin. It'll activate the color pencils and turn them into a watercolor painting. When you're working and blending with watercolor pencils, I like to start with the negative space first. I work with the background first. And one thing that I always want to emphasize when I'm working with young people and stuff is that when you are blending and you're changing colors, you always want to make sure that your brush is washed out pretty clean. You don't want to necessarily blend a dark color like the bottom here with some of the light colors up at the top and stuff. People have they debate about whether or not to start with say the light color and blend first, or do you start with the dark color? I find it easier to start light and working my way to the darker colors when I'm blending the watercolor pencils. That seems to work well for me. Another thing that you can do, you can use for blending watercolor pencils that I'm going to use for this particular piece is a Prismacolor colorless blending stick. That really works well. It blends the color, really smooths out the color when you're blending, and it you can build on your general composition, and I say general composition. When you first blend and you have your first layer of color down, that's kind of, in my opinion, the general composition. If you want to go darker or have more contrast, you can go back in after it dries and add some more watercolor pencils and blend with water, but you can also blend with the Prismacolor colorless stick. And so again, love this medium, fun to work with, can work really quick with it, and not a lot of mess and things like that. So there's so many pros and for working with watercolor pencils, and I find it to be extremely versatile. So as I, wrap this up, you can see, you'll see the final piece that I came up with, and just want to encourage everyone to paint on and paint strong. Just try this medium out, the watercolor pencils. Try them out. They are extremely versatile and fun to work with, and I know the kids at home will have a good time. Your students in school will have a great time with it as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. Hope you enjoy this last little bit, and I want to encourage you. Hey, if you are liking what you see happening with my YouTube channel, by all means, you can support it by going online and purchasing some of the prints that you see. They are available, works that are from the series. And hey, I want you to catch up with me a little bit later, okay? I'll see you next time on Art Today.